Again, everybody. um, wow, it's been a busy week. I'm trying to finish a couple of reviews myself today before I head out back to AFI Festival. But I just got done watching Titans Season 1, Episode 5, the new episode titled Together. Now, if you ask me, hey Rama, where's the review for last week's episode, Episode 4, titled Doom Patrol? Well, I didn't have one because two reasons. I was so jam-packed busy that weekend. I mean, I watched the episode, but I couldn't have a time to actually sit down and actually do this kind of, live stream review at that moment because I think I had so many things to cover last weekend. But before we get to episode 5, let's talk a bit about episode 4. Might as well just, you know, squeeze it in here, okay? In my review of episode 5. So episode 4 was Doom Patrol, and there's not much to talk about it because that's the second reason why I didn't do it. It's because it was a filler episode. Episode where the story kind of takes a detour somewhere else before it goes back to the problem at hand or the bigger arc at hand. That's what it was. It was just a filler. Basically, kind of like how the movie Iron Man 2 was just infomercial for the 2012 Avengers movie. It did not feel like a standalone Iron Man movie. Iron Man 2 was. I mean, that's how I felt about Episode 4, Doom Patrol. Basically, it was a teaser or his way of saying, hey, look, guys, we have these other characters also that are going to have their own standalone show as well. Um, so, hey, Tyler, what's up? That's right. So you saw the episode. Yeah, Brendan Fraser. I was going to get to that. But here's the thing. That, because it was a filler episode, right? And it was a teaser suggesting that Doom Patrol series is coming. Obviously, they did not show all the cast members of Doom Patrol, but they did give us, like Tyler says, Brendan Fraser playing Cliff Steele. I have my notes here so I don't forget. Robot Man. Matt Bomer as Larry Trainer, aka Negative Man. April Bowlby, one of my huge celeb crushes. I had the hugest crush on April Bowlby since Two and a Half Men series. Just look it up. You'll know why I why I like April Bowlby. She played Candy in that show. Lovely, lovely, sexy girl. And she plays Elastigirl, aka Rita. Um, and the introduction to Doom Patrol is by way of Beast Boy. Not obviously, but apparently Beast Boy has an affiliation with them, and he has also a part in the mansion, in Chief's mansion, that belongs to him. Is like so cool, like filled with arcades and all kinds of video games. He calls it paradise, and I'm like, yeah, that looks like paradise. I want to live in that. That's like the coolest room ever. He's got like the coolest room in the whole world. And of course, Chief, played in this series by Bruno Bashir. He's the actor. He's the brother of Damian Bashir, the Oscar-nominated actor Damian Bashir. So, yeah. Real quick before we get to episode 5, Robot Man looks pretty clunky. Now I didn't grow up reading Doom Patrol comic books, so I don't know much about them. I'm learning them as I go right now with this show. Even though I grew up a DC fan. But here's the thing. It's funny how Robot Man, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Brendan Fraser, not only does he voice Robot Man, but he also plays in a body, like a mocap suit. And then they, of course, they with CG and technology, they transform into what you see on the screen. Whereas Matt Bomer, the actor from White Collar series, he voices Negative Man, Larry Trainer, but if you look it up, the credit, it was somebody, or they have somebody else playing Negative Man. The movement, the guy behind the mummy-looking mask. So it's not Matt Bomer behind that. Matt Bomer only provides the voice. whereas Brendan Fraser actually does the voice and does the movement as well as Robot Man. So I find that to be interesting. I'm not sure why Matt doesn't want to do it. I guess we won't know. Um, Tyler says DC Universe needs to step up with their effects budget. Here's the thing, though. Speaking of effects, when the face melts for April Bowlby's character Rita, because she has this condition with her character, and yeah, it looks so shoddy. And that whole thing with the chief, what's his name? Chief Niles. There you go, Niles Calder, Chief, trying to dissect or at least attempt to dissect Raven. He looks like a villain there for a moment. He's like a freaking Dr. Frankenstein, and I thought to myself, it's like, whoa! I thought Doom Patrol's supposed to be the good guys. What's going on here? And at one point there seems to be suggested like there was gonna be a conflict, like a physical contact kind of conflict, a fight scene between Starfire, Beast Boy against Robot Man and Negative Man, right? Because they came into the mansion and it's like, whoa, like there seemed to be a standoff there between them, but boom, no, that's it. It's over after the conflict within the laboratory. That's it. It seems like they're just got resolved. Um, the worst CGI for me in the show has always been whenever Beast Boy turns into a tiger. That is correct. That is correct. So it's a filler episode. It's like it's not even worth reviewing. So missing out on last week's review of episode 4 is not that big a deal, at least in my opinion. Plus, I was busy, as I told you. But now the story's back on track. All right, so let's get to episode 5. They're back on the road again, and Beast Boy's joining them. Remember, I told you in the previous reviews of this show that I said, whoa, what is up with Beast Boy being apart from the rest of the gangs? Like, let's involve him, let's include him, and let's see how that plays out. So that seems to be the case now. And that family, that creepy family, holy crap, man. They are relentless. They are the creepiest, weirdest family ever. And they in this episode 5, they got a new dad. This employer of theirs is just as weird, and it sends chill. He sends chill down your spine, especially when he's that opening scene where he batters up like an egg, or an egg yolk, but there's still a bird in it. It's just the weirdest shit ever, man. Now, in this episode, it's titled Together. They spend time at the motel, and they start training. For whatever reason, they find a barn, an abandoned barn somewhere near the motel. It's just like, okay, boom, let's give them a barn, whatever. that cracks me up. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? And they start training, and each of them displays their ability, and of course Beast Boy is the comic relief, and I'm glad. So as I mentioned to you in the previous review episodes, I felt like the show was too dark, right? It was so heavy and brooding. It was just like, it's even darker than DC movies. So I think it's a good thing that Beast Boy is now, part of the team, and he provides some of the jabs and the smart ass remarks, and it's like maybe he's ignorant a little bit, and I like that. You gotta lighten the mood sometimes. That training scene though does get me wondering, like, okay, why am I the only one laughing at the fact that Beast Boy's only ability is just morphous or transform to an animal? Like, I would be like, if I were in that barn, I would be cracking up. I'd be like, that's all you can do? It kind of brings me back to when Aquaman was made fun of by the rest of the Justice League in this Canadian sketch, and he's like, Aquaman, go talk to the fishes. uh, and just like Hulk, right? He has to end up naked every single time that he transforms into an animal. So it's like the most uncomfortable, and the most uncomfortable ability, the most hassle too. You got to put your clothes back on afterwards. And also, speaking of clothes, I mentioned to you this before, but man, Starfire in that purple pleather, it makes me wonder, like, what she is, that all the outfit that she has. You can argue like, hey, Rama, that's her uniform, but man, it seems like she sleeps in that and she showers in that. I just don't understand. It looks uncomfortable. It looks like if I had to wear that all day and all night, I'd be going crazy out of my mind. Quick side note, it's funny how uh, and we saw this coming a mile away, right? If you watched this episode 5, you knew this was gonna happen, especially when the title is together. And at one point, Starfire was talking to Dick. They're talking to each other and about figuring out each other's ability. Tyler says the show budget won't let them have too many costume changes. That may be the case, brother. That may be the case. And they're talking to each other, and boom, Starfire Starfire drops a sexual innuendo, you know, because she says something along the lines of like, "Oh, maybe we should figure that out together." Wink, wink. They were gonna have sex, man. It was just like the cheesiest thing ever. And the whole setup too, with her coming to the room while he's half naked. He just got, he's shaving. It's like, oh my gosh, if this isn't the cheesiest setup for sex scene, I don't know what is. And on top of that, the front desk lady, the one who runs the motel, she also has, she is also horny for Dick Grayson. It's just like, uh, I'm sorry, that part is just like, who wrote this shit? That's what I was thinking while watching it. It's like, okay, the motel lady comes after Starfire already has sex with Dick Grayson. She also wants to get some. I was like, oh, what, what is this? Come on, people. uh, let's get back to Beast Boy making us laugh instead of this stupidity. Uh, so no, to Dick's defense, well, I don't know, but let's put it this way. I guess the rest of us guys could be a little jealous of Dick. Like we could envy him. Like the guy, the guy doesn't know it, but he's got game. He's like a walking game. If he can attract both Starfire and the motel lady and make their panties wet like that without exerting a single energy or dropping a sweat, that's game, man. You got game. Uh, all right, so that's the funny part. The family catches up to them, right, in the hotel. Tyler says, "Plus he's rich." That's right. That's right. Well, but the motel lady and Starfire did not know at the time that he's rich. They didn't even know at the time that he's Robin. So they did not even know that that he has connection to Batman. I think they just have the hots for him, or they're just horny at that time. So yeah, the creepy family catches up to them in the motel, and the fight scene happens. And let me get my note here. Um, I liked it. All right, I liked that whole fight sequence. It was it was elaborate. It forced them to team up, against the family, because the family, they're like four members and there's four of them. So we see them now, sort of a work in progress kind of team, Team Titans. Even though it's still not smooth sailing, obviously, the way they coordinate their fights amongst themselves. I'm talking about the characters, not the fight sequence coordination. So I like it, but my God, man, can somebody please turn on the lights in those hallways? Holy shit, I can't see a damn thing. That hallway fight scene between Starfire and the creepy kids. I was like, dude, I want to see it. I want to see some, I want to see the action. I want to see them happening in front of my eyes. But it's like freaking. It's like somebody please turn on the damn lights around here. It's just like compare it to the Netflix Marvel shows. You know, their fight scenes, even in the Tyler says it's gotta be dark, Rama. Even like Daredevil or Iron Fist or Jessica Jones or Luke Cage, even when it's dark, little dark, their fight scenes are happening in the dark. You could still see, or maybe there's some help from some neon lights, um, some color palettes, so you can actually see the movements. In this one, I was like, holy crap! Robert says no Polar Pop, Rama. No, no, no. Polar Pop is only for Sunday show, Rocking It with Rama Screen Live. So you'll only see the Circle K endorsement there, brother Robert. So come on, let's add some color palette or some neon lights, whatever, right? Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in this show, and you have all these hardcore badassness happening, and you don't get to actually enjoy it to the fullest because again it's so freaking dark. Literally. So they capture the creepy family, and Dick Grayson leads follows that lead back to their employer up in the penthouse, and that's when things go to shit because the organization that he works for, oh my god, your cover's blown, so we got to kill you now. And so Dick Grayson gets attacked at the penthouse, um, and then bam, you see Jason Todd, the new Robin. That is pretty cool. Before we talk a bit about Jason Todd, so this whole organization thing going on, when he says like, oh, they're everywhere, they're watching us, you can't beat them, it reminds me of the Hand, right? The Hand from the Defenders series or Marvel's Netflix shows. So I was like, all right, we have this kind of thing, kind of villain before. It's the same song and dance number. They're everywhere. They have people in the police department. They have, it's like, oh, okay. But that's the route they're going with. It's nothing new, nothing unique, but it's just all too familiar. So last note, Jason Todd. Damn, I like it. I like it. Um, when was the last time we saw an iteration or a version of Jason Todd, either in animation or live action? Because do you remember? I think the movie Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. It was suggested that Joker killed Jason, right? Um, in that world. Um, so anyway, I don't remember the last time I saw an iteration or a version of Jason Todd. So it looks cool, and he's played by the actor named Kieran. I want to get this name correctly here. Kieran Walters. So the new Robin is now in play. He's at the final end of this episode 5. Um, Tyler says he was in that Under the Red Hood animated film. Okay, there you go. There you go. Thank you so much for reminding us, brother. I appreciate it. So if you notice that the tactic of Robin, either Dick Grayson or Jason Todd, they're the same. It's the same tactic. It's the same playbook, in that they often use gas first. Um, Tyler says he was voiced by Jensen Ackles from Supernatural. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Love Jensen Ackles. Met him at Comic Con. Good, coolest guy ever. Um, so they have the same playbook tactic. Whereas you throw the gas pretty much kind of like dizzy up your opponents. So it gives you the time to actually attack them without them, on being aware of where you are at that given moment. So that's the tactic you see Dick Grayson does, and that's the tactic you see Jason Todd does. So it's obviously they read from the same playbook, and they obviously have the same trainer. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they will clash in episode 6, or whether or not Jason might end up helping Titans, the team, against this organization. Um, Again, keep in mind that the big arc is this evil Raven, right? Because Raven is the demon's daughter, so there's this evil energy inside her that has apocalyptic potential. So that's the big arc for season 1. We'll see how this plays out in episode 6. But overall, episode 5, I like it, except for those little criticisms, like the literally dark and and the cheesy setup for the sex scene ever. There's some parts where like, okay, I get it, guys. I get it. Trigon, there you go. Thank you, Paris. Trigon, the demon. Um, I think I totally understand that they want to go adult centric with Titans, right? They want to. That's why they say the word fuck. That's why they actually do fuck. um, but it doesn't have to be designed in a way that, okay, we got to put these kids, these Titans, in an adult centric world. So how do we make this work? Then make it work in a way that's organic, or feel that flows naturally, instead of like, oh, let's put adult elements here and let's put adult elements there. Let's have them curse over here. Let's have them have sex over there because adult centric, guys, adult centric. So I think if you just focus on the story and let it uh, transform from there, it'll feel more, it'll feel less cheesy at the very least. It'll feel less forced, so you don't have to be like, okay, what kind of adult centric elements we have to shove in people's faces in this episode. At least that's my opinion. Yes, thank you, Tyler, for that fact about Jason Todd and Joker. So episode 5, still like it, except for those little minor stuff, and I can't wait for the whole season 1. And so stay tuned for my next week's review of Titans Season 1, Episode 6. As always, it's a live stream review. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. Subscribe to my channel, ring the bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you can support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.